That's, I mean, that's just the way it goes, you know?
That's the chaos. You're not the first person to ever tell me a story of that general nature. When it gets to Saddam's kids, and I'm fascinated by this, I've always been fascinated by Saddam's
Yeah.
kids. They obviously take off just like their dad takes off when the war starts. I
Right.
mean, everyone on the deck of cards tried to go into hiding and or flee.
Yeah.
What was your unit's job? I mean, what's this manhunt like when it comes to Saddam's two kids?
So at the time, there was very limited helicopters. There was very limited Humvees, there wasn't a lot of mobility options. And, obviously back then, we didn't have the understanding, and the maps and everything else, so like walking out of, BIAP really wasn't an option. Um, so it was just chaos. Like, literally, hey, we got this, we got this bit of intelligence. Where can we get a helicopter from? Where can we get vehicles from? Like, okay, hey, we can't literally, 175's got the vehicles up, they're doing something up north. We can't use the helicopters, because this unit's using them. Okay, what do we got? Oh, hey, third ID. Hey, what are you guys doing? Okay, hey, let's grab, a section of freaking Bradleys and piling in the back of the Bradleys, and just driving downtown Baghdad in the back, with a bunch of Rangers, which was crazy, in between their thunder runs and everything else. And I'll always have respect for those third ID guys, and I can tell you a little bit more why. But um, it was just madness because there was just constantly intel coming down. We were paying people for intelligence. We were just getting all kinds of different information, and we were just going out and just trying to action them and find them and everything else. And there was plenty of times where the intelligence was good, but a lot of time we just felt like we were chasing ghosts. There was times where we would run into resistance and stuff like that. It just kind of honestly depended, and it was very sporadic. It just you had no idea where it was going to happen and when it was going to happen. And then also like you would literally, and this is things that a lot of people, if they weren't there during like that initial month, they would never know this. Um, that Iraq invasion, like sometimes we'd just go because we were also searching for chemical weapons too. So sometimes we would just go out and we'd have to, be in mop level 5, freaking with everything, would roll onto some random lab or, you know, presumed lab or something like that. We're searching for chemical weapons, and basically we're just escorting scientists that are going in and testing everything while we stay outside. And the Iraqi people were unbelievable. I mean, literally like setting up picnics for us, like, just, extending their, gratitude for, basically liberating their country, people giving us cars, people, offering their daughters hands in marriage, like all this different kind of stuff, or, they would see us and we'd have a block lockdown or something like that. They'd be like, oh, the Americans are here. We can throw a party. And they literally start like a block party, playing music and, bringing out drinks and food and stuff like that. And you'd be like, dude, it's a war zone. They're like, this is nothing. You should try to live under Saddam Hussein. And we're like, fair point. Okay, I guess I wouldn't understand that. Like we can go outside, we can say whatever, they would come outside. I mean, literally, they'd be like, I can say whatever I want. I don't have to worry about it. Fuck Saddam Hussein. You're like, whoa, like, I mean, I'm literally, but it was only that month, there was about a month, period where it was like that. And then as we got to kind of know the area better and everything else, just like, you would do if you were a tourist, we found like good places to eat. So we would like roll back from missions and we'd stop like downtown, like by the food courts and stuff like that, and grab some chow, and freaking bring it back with us and everything else because like there was point, there was parts as we started to expand, out of BIAP that became safer and safer because, one, just the flood of Americans coming in and doing stuff, pushed everybody else out, any kind of resistance out. But two, we just, kind of started to understand the place better.
How close do you know how close you got to Uday and Qusay? Did you ever find out if you got close at all?
Yeah, so there was one mission, and unfortunately, this is just kind of one of those weird ones that I mean, it probably wouldn't matter, but I won't talk about it too much.
Fair.
But
That's
there was,
fine. That's fine.
yeah, yeah, there was one mission that was very weird. It was definitely different than anything we'd ever done. It was literally just my squad. And like we were told to like we were on a mission. We were told to get on a Black Hawk. We flew on a Black Hawk. We landed in the middle of the desert. A freaking little Cessna with a bunch of weirdos and weird equipment landed, picked us up, flew us somewhere. then another helicopter. Like it was this whole weird thing. And then eventually, not in Iraq, another country, we landed, and we're given some instructions and everything else about what to do to basically, reduce the threat there, and then basically set up ambush lines. And that's what we did. And from what I'm told, and then like afterwards, what we were told is that Uday and Qusay were in a vehicle convoy basically that were coming through there to try to cross the border. And they got stopped because of all of the aircraft and everything else that was flying around trying to get ahead of them. And they stopped somewhere in between there and got on different vehicles and buggied out. But like literally, we were right in front of them, and we were going to ambush them when they come across the border control checkpoint
And then that
into the other country.
yeah, and I know the country you're referring to, but you don't want to
Yeah.
mention it, so I won't mention it either.
Well,
that is
it honestly, it was just there's a couple different other elements that I kind of avoided from that, like whole story and stuff like that. But that's just I'm pretty comfortable talking about most things, but that one's just one of those ones, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Totally fair. And then obviously, they ended up getting caught. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was Delta in the 82nd
Yeah.
Airborne caught them, and they launched like a bunch of those what is it called? A TOW or
Oh,
tow
yeah,
missile.
yeah. Tow missiles, javelins.
They
I think actually they were launching javelins into it too. And I think it was yeah, it was 375 82nd and Delta Force. Yeah.
Yeah, and they hammered them in that building they were in. I mean, yeah, they didn't last long against the element that finally
Yeah.
found them. Now Jessica Lynch, and I cannot wait. When you sent the email saying that you were involved with Jessica Lynch, and here's the reason why. I remember, I'm 31 years old. I'll be 32 here soon enough. So I wasn't that old when the Iraq war kicked off, but I was old enough to, I watched the news with my parents at night. Like I was
Right.
very aware of what was going on. And I just remember the Jessica Lynch thing was on the news
Mm.
all the time. And it was this young, blonde female soldier. She's been taken POW, and you hear all these horror stories, and then the rescues on the news. And it was this, I mean, it was a nightly event. And then, as I'm sure then the initial reports that I remember were that there was this massive gunfight, and they faced intense resistance, and they pulled off this insane hostage rescue mission. The Bush administration essentially promotes that narrative. And then you start seeing people come out and say, that's not at all what happened. Andy Stumpf, who was on SEAL Team 6 there, said that that was not his recollection of how things went down. So once and for all, what was the Jessica Lynch rescue mission actually like?
So, leading up to it, and I talked about this before, we were told, and the intelligence we were given was that there was Marines in the area, and I don't remember the side, our size. I don't remember if they said a battalion, a division, brigade. I really honestly don't remember, but that was trying to basically seize that city and couldn't. They met such heavy resistance